Don't play with Disney.
What I did to Ron DeSantis.
You think all those universities are calling you out of coincidence? Fuck you, Jim. Just had to keep running your fucking mouth.
I'm sorry, Mick.
Did you even get it away? Anyway. Okay.
This episode is made possible by our therapy partners, Dirty B, Myra, and Mickey from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Pod Therapy, real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now broadcasting from the Churn. That's Whitney, that's Jim, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
So,
Who was that? Mickey.
the Mickey impression is glorious. So I thought you guys might get a kick out of seeing my Space Mountain photo.
All right.
So
This is
Jim
good
went
for
to
a
Disneyland.
podcast.
I don't care for roller coasters.
Really?
I love
Yeah.
him.
I love roller
Honestly,
I do
a
too.
carousel's a little much for me. Like, my jam is the Dumbo ride, where you ride on
It
Dumbo.
just like goes up and down.
That's it. It goes up and down, maybe 2 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
This may shock you. I'm kind of with Jim on this
Thank
one.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
I was always deathly afraid of roller coasters.
Yeah.
Growing up, I would not go on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I was like, my parents would threaten me. Like, if I'd
Better get up
misbehave-
there. Oh,
Yeah.
they'll make you take a
No,
roller
we'll
coaster?
make you
We're
go on a
strapping
roller
you in.
coaster.
Did your
you know?
sister give you shit for this?
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
I mean,
Older
she gave me
sibling.
shit for everything.
It's on
you
the
know,
list.
It's the rules.
But honestly, what helped me as an adult, I really enjoyed them now because I just need to imagine that I'm in control of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
'Cause
This
if I
makes a lot of
imagine-
sense.
Oh, so you don't like
Makes
the
a lot of
dark
sense,
you don't like the dark roller coasters.
See,
then.
No,
that's
but
what,
like if I just imagine like there's a joystick and I'll pretend there's one.
oh, this is okay. The
Oh, so
visual.
you really like the dark ones.
Full stop. The
Pretend
visual is
there's a
fantastic.
joystick.
Nick gripping with both hands
What are you in control
what is
of?
clearly a mime penis, just right out of his zipper, and then just
And you
jabbing
don't hear
that
the
to the
mime.
left and
You
the
can't hear
right.
the mime because he's not
Atari.
talking because he's
Yeah.
a mime, but he's
You
really
sitting
enjoying
on
it.
children's rides doing
I
that
was-
the whole ride is. I want it. I want photos. I want
The picture
that
may
was-
flash,
yeah.
Nick.
That was a joke, but
Oh, okay.
I do pretend that I am
Do
controlling
pretend
it.
I'm masturbating. It's
On the
really helped
children's
my
ride.
nerves.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my god.
Anyway,
I love not
Swinging
being in
ship is
control.
really swinging.
Space Mountain is terrible. Do you remember this
Space
ride?
Is that the
Mountain
one
is
in the dark?
awesome.
Space Mountain is
Space Mountain is
pitch
awesome.
black. It's the
Yes.
one that's pitch black.
Yep.
It's fucking
And it's
awesome.
just a fucking circle.
It's
You're
not.
just spiraling as fast as goddamn light speed in this circle, and then every once in a while it jerks in the other direction and folds over the other way in pitch black. You have no
Yep.
fucking clue what's going to happen.
It's so cool.
So I'm there wearing my Disney button-up Goofy shirt, and they take a picture of it. And immediately my brother-in-law ran to the screen and got a photo.
Hell
of
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I'm showing
They
it.
allowed
I'll
it?
show
You're
it
in
to
the
Whitney
dark?
first.
Oh yeah, they don't give a shit if you take pictures. Yeah,
That
you're
goofy
like,
shirt. You look like you're from the 70s.
You're in the
Oh.
dark
Something with
the
that
entire
shirt.
I was
time,
absolutely
and then the
Oh
flash
my
bulbs go
gosh.
off.
Jim
Full terror.
he hates himself
full
in the
terror. It was awful. Not a fan.
I mean, he
Hold that
hates
up over here.
himself.
Not
Jacob
a
hasn't
fan.
seen it yet.
Jacob, describe that for the listeners.
Yeah, I can't describe it. I didn't even want to try.
Full
That
terror.
is- I mean, there's a hint. There's a hint of a smile.
It almost looks like a character from the 90s.
That's
It's
what
a
I was-
90s sitcom character.
Yeah.
It's like it
Full
has
fear.
There's a button-up shirt. There's
Racing
a
in
white
fear.
button-up shirt that looks very much like a bowling shirt that has large images of Daffy Duck and Goofy on it.
So just
Daffy Duck,
imagine-
definitely not a Disney character, but
Imagine
thank you.
the singer.
Donald Duck.
There you go.
There you go.
Imagine the guy
You're
from Smash
despicable.
Mouth. He looked kind of like the guy
That's
from Smash
Smash Mouth
Mouth.
without the bleach tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bleach tips would help.
The bleach tips would help.
The
This
fear
angle,
on my face.
This angle of
is
the flash
evidence.
makes Jim's mustache look
Glowing.
much worse.
No.
somehow
That's not possible.
they really enunciate.
I
it.
pictured the Goofy when you said Goofy on his shirt that they'd be small.
No.
They were
they're-
giant
they're
Goofy.
large.
Fist-size Goofy.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
all over
There
that
is
shirt.
one character kind of covering an entire shoulder.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
size of them.
Very
But that
large.
face is exactly how I felt the entire fucking ride.
It is-
It's awful.
It is a mix of kind of resignation.
Yeah.
Like I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is
I must.
happening to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wincing in pain.
Yeah, there's a survivor
Because
mentality
that's what's
to it.
happening. They're just jerking you the whole time. Like your lower back is like
And usually
an
you
S.
have to pay at least $80 for that.
Yeah, honestly, they have a
No
pass
cheaper
for that.
in Thailand.
They have a fast
Jacob,
pass.
can we timestamp that?
So anyway, don't go to Disney. Just awful.
Space Mountain is one of my favorite rides in the world. I
it's
love
so
Space Mountain.
bad.
And I've been on it when they have had to stop it and then turn all the lights on
Oh.
and have people walk out. And
That's
it's fascinating to
interesting.
see what it really looks like.
I would dig that. I
Yeah.
would like to see what it looks
It's
like.
really cool to be
with
like,
all the
"Shit,
tracks.
this is it."
It's just a spiral, man. It's just a spiral. It goes really high up and then just spirals
That's-
down
you're
in
just wrong.
loops and loops. Well, I don't know. It was dark.
I know.
I just remember that it hurt. So I don't care for Disney.
I mean, honestly, the roller coaster's fine. Like, I would have a good time there.
Yeah.
But nothing about waiting in line.
It's awful.
and walking around.
It's so awful.
and crowds.
Yes.
When we
Like
used to
that-
go in
this
the
sounds
off
like my
season,
nightmare.
when we used to go in the off season, it would the most popular rides in the park would be a line of about an hour,
Yeah.
and that was the super popular rides. And so you do those once, twice at the most.
Yeah.
But you do them so, and it was good. And then a lot of the rides were like 20 minutes, which
Man.
that's not so
When I
bad.
went, it was
bad.
awful. But I will say this: California Adventure Park. Have you heard about this one? It's right next door. It's also owned by Disney.
Yeah.
So
I
we
always
had
thought
park
those were the
hoppers.
same. I was
It's
like,
a part
is
of
this-
Disneyland.
Yeah.
I have a family member that works for Disney.
It's all
Corporation.
Disneyland. There's
That's
Magic
the
Kingdom
only
and
reason
California
we
Adventure.
went
Right.
because I will not pay this goddamn money.
Yeah.
But I got like free tickets, park hoppers, and half price at the hotel, so that was worth it. And half price at every like food and gift. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. But
You're bitching a lot for somebody
I
who
was
didn't
going to
pay a
say,
whole
you
lot
better
for
have paid the
Disneyland.
$40 skip the pass
honestly,
line.
yeah, no. So we did. Yeah,
Okay.
we did the Genie Pass again, only because it was
Yeah.
free. So I was like, whatever.
But
This is
none of that
faster.
matters because there's a group above you who
Yeah.
pays
Oh,
more
there's
and
always-
gets to skip you.
No, you're right. There's tiers.
Yes, and
It's
there's a
terrible.
group above them that
It's
gets to
so
skip.
weird, man. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But California Adventure Park, that one's actually if you're ever going to go, which I doubt you will, but if you ever were, go there. That one is probably 10% of the crowd, and it's the one that has the Marvel and so like got the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. Really cool rides. Like honestly, again, too intense for
It's
me. I
the
didn't
California
care for
Adventure
that.
side is the
That was a good time.
ride side.
That was a good time.
Like on the Disneyland side or
a lot
the
of
Magic
old
Kingdom
rides,
side,
because they don't
you've got-
change anything over there. At
Yeah,
Disney.
they do all the time.
Like the Peter Pan ride's still there.
no, they
Pinocchio.
update shit constantly, dude.
Not at all.
They just
Though the Star Wars ride at Disneyland is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
They have I forgot what it's called, like
Did you
Rebel
go to the-
Alliance, something
Did you
like
go
that.
to the
It's
Millennium
amazing.
Falcon? Did you see the Millennium
I did
Falcon?
see that.
See, that's the only reason I would go.
Yeah.
I would
So-
go just for
No,
that.
the Star Wars
Peter
Land
says
is
that
worth
too.
the trip. Honestly, all by itself, just go to Star Wars Land. It was awesome.
and I haven't
There's-
been since that opened.
There's
I do
two
wanna go see
rides.
that.
One of them is like this really cool simulator thing.
Yeah.
The other one, Nick, I came out of this ride and all I could think of is how did you guys afford to build this? Because it is the most extravagant, elaborate,
We just
complex,
described how they
yes,
interesting
charge you all
ride.
the money.
Yeah, exactly. All the money they fucking
What do you
siphoned out of me.
mean?
But even that, even
I mean,
after
Ron
all the money they've
DeSantis
sucked
just
out of
saved
me,
them like $6 billion.
yeah, it's true.
He's making Florida pay
That
for
one
it.
is worth the trip. It is the most insane ride I've ever been on. It is theatrical, amazing, so complex. I still don't understand how they did it.
That's cool.
It was amazing.
Not that this is all comparable, but Laura and I this past week went to this new place. It's Uncommons. Have you heard of this?
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
up now off
Yeah.
Durango and 215.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's right across from where the Durango the
Station's
new casino.
gonna be. Yeah.
And so we went there because she wanted to check it out, and there was like there was a band playing, and there was it was a market in the alley type thing.
Oh, okay.
It's like, all right, let's go, let's check it out. So we went there, and I was absolutely miserable the whole time.
I thought you liked live music and stuff.
Oh no, I love
you
live
like Laura?
music.
Yeah, it's because Laura was there.
No, we get there, and it's just it's packed. It's full of people, and I just felt like
Yeah, you don't like crowds.
I do not like crowds, and I don't like having to weave around
it's
people.
awful.
And then there was like an ice cream place, and she really wanted to try, and so we walk over there. The line is probably 100 deep.
oh my gosh.
No,
Yeah,
no.
and so I'm like,
I'll always be like, no.
yeah, and she's like, I don't know if I want to wait that long. And I was like, well, I definitely don't.
so that's yeah, we're on that side.
So
of the
she's like,
ledger.
what do you want to do? And I was like, honestly, leave.
Yeah,
I want to leave.
That sounds like my
So
favorite.
we ended up
thing.
leaving. We went to Firefly,
Oh, I like
and we
Firefly.
just we had drinks and dessert.
Yeah, that's a
And I was like,
tapas
that
restaurant.
that was
Firefly's
awesome.
really good.
Like that was a great night.
Do you
Yeah,
like
they've only had
tapas
one
places?
really terrible
Yeah.
incident
Yeah,
of salmonella where they put a lot of people
That
in the
was
hospital.
years
Yeah.
ago,
That
dude.
was a
That's
long
why I said
time
they only
ago.
had it happen
It
once.
was their paella. That's what got people.
A good friend of mine, her son was in the hospital for like 3 weeks with
Oh,
salmonella.
shit.
Related to that?
No, directly from that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like he was
Jeez.
one of the big patients in it. Like very nearly died.
Tapas
Yeah,
is
but
a
did he
good
regret
idea.
it?
Yes, yes.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's what he said with his last breath. Yeah, now that I think about it, that is what he
I
said.
regret that.
But it was really tasty.
So good. Yeah, tapas are pretty cool,
Yeah.
but I always like get overwhelmed, because it's like so many different things, and like I don't know, like what do you get? So then you get everything, but then you have like a fuck ton of stuff on the plate. And you just don't know what to
Gotta
do.
go with people, like more than 2 people.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
I should
true,
stop
yeah.
going by myself.
you got to tag
Yeah.
team.
I think that's
You gotta-
probably
Yeah.
you
That
shouldn't go to
is step
tapas for your
one.
breakfast on your own on a
No.
Sunday. Tapas breakfast,
good.
not a good idea. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Yeah, we started the show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we
we have.
did that. Welcome to Pod Therapy, a show that is completely made up and the points don't matter. We've got some great questions today.
You were just stepping on all kinds of people's IP
Oh,
today.
you said that? Yeah, that's right. I thought you were criticizing me. It's like, says the guy who literally took on the copyright gods. What are you doing? First question. Ooh, this is a good one. Involvement in my spouse's therapy. From Anonymous. I heard the queue was running low, so here's a question I've been pondering for a bit. How much involvement, if at all, should a partner have in their partner's individual therapy? My husband has been going to therapy for a while, but he has a hard time opening up and admitting his faults, which who doesn't? When I think about this, I think it's slowing his progress. I'd love to go in and talk to his therapist and just give a list of things I think they should talk about, but I know that's not my place. He has depression, CPTSD, and ADHD. So there's definitely things to talk about, but they usually talk about us and our relationship, from what he tells me. I think because it's easier to talk about our relationship instead of his past traumas or issues. Any insight would be appreciated. My pronouns are she and her.
Okay.
Everybody thinks
So-
this.
Quote Monty
Yeah.
Python. Run away!
Run away!
This is a good question because I think,
is.
okay, so the two of you are in private practice.
Yeah.
I am not.
Not together.
I'm not. Yep, correct.
That you know
Yeah.
of.
Okay, I
That
don't
you
know
know
why
of.
we needed to clarify that.
We
but
keep it
that's
on
fine.
the DL.
It's private.
Yeah.
Right there in the name.
We would never tell you.
Damn, that was the move. I should have remembered that one.
If you had a spouse of a current
If
client
the two of you had a spouse.
Yeah, in private practice.
that contacted you and basically said, "Hey, I'd like to come in and talk to you," how would you
Right.
handle that? Would you be like, "Yeah, absolutely," or would you? I don't know.
What's
So,
your policy on that?
I
'Cause
mean,
this comes up.
yeah, it does, and I was gonna say it varies. It
Yeah.
really does vary.
Yeah.
If they wanted to come and sit in on the session, that would definitely be up to my client to
Right.
decide that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't think, or I haven't had this experience, maybe you have, Jim, but where the partner reached out to me directly, or like around their spouses.
Oh, I've had that.
Really, I haven't experienced that yet, but I have like worked with one side of a client where one of my like other private practice partners was working with the other one, and
Okay.
he would do sessions with both of them occasionally, but it's because they brought up their relationship. So
Sure.
in some ways, it's like if he is bringing this up in therapy, then that might be something that has been discussed or
Right.
talked about. And I would also say, if you're wondering about that, I mean, do you feel comfortable asking your partner, hey, how do you feel about me sitting in on one of these sessions?
Right.
There's some stuff that I think would be helpful. And if he says no, then no. Like,
Right.
I don't-
Yeah.
So that was actually going to be my next point. Was like it would be, and I'm sure you would agree, it would be better for her to approach the husband and ask,
Yeah.
"Hey, can I be involved?" than it would be to just contact the therapist on her own.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely different therapists do have different policies.
Yeah.
Um,
I wouldn't be opposed if somebody came to me and they wanted to just like say the partner sent me an email or something like, hey, these
Right.
are all my issues. I just say, okay, thanks.
I've definitely had that. So I've had people contact me and say, hey, exactly this scenario, right? My spouse is a patient of yours. I'm concerned about something. And sometimes it sounds pretty bad faith. You know, sometimes it sounds pretty yucky, where they're like, I'm sure they're not telling you the truth.
Right.
And it's like, listen to Pod Therapy. Actually, never listen to Pod Therapy. It's not for human consumption. But as a general rule, I don't care. I'm not a detective. I'm not a private eye. I'm not here to figure out the truth. I'm here to figure out their perspective and help them navigate their lives, right? And so, like, I don't necessarily, I'm not a ref. I'm not here to, like, my patient's going to tell me about an argument the two of you had, and you're concerned that, like, they're going to frame it as if they were right.
Yeah.
And that's really important to you, that you contact me and set the record straight, as if I'm a ref. You know, what am I going to do?
What if the concern isn't necessarily about right versus wrong, but more like, I want to make sure he's bringing up this.
That's
because
a good
this is
faith
a concern.
contact. So I've had bad faith contacts like the first one, where it's like, it's pretty petty and I can tell it's petty.
Yeah.
What I deal with bad case or bad faith is I basically tell them, like, hey, I cannot dialogue with you. So, like, because of HIPAA, I can't reply to you. I can't give you information. And I've had people write me and say, I just want to make sure he's saying X, Y, and Z. Can you tell me about that? And my standard reply is, hey, I'm so sorry. Because of the law, I can't reply to you. Talk to your spouse. If they would like you to be in the session, you're more than welcome to come in the session. I'm also always telling people, like, look, if you have a family member that wants to give me information, I'm fine with that. I can download information from any direction. I cannot provide it, right? So I've had, like, adults, young adults whose parents are paying for the therapy. Maybe they're saying, like, hey, I don't think they're being completely honest about something. Am I allowed to text you? Am I allowed to email you? And I'll say, yes, you can, but I understand the rules. I cannot reply, and I will tell them whatever you said. So if you try to tell me stuff and you're like, but don't tell them about that part, that's not going to work. You have no guarantees of privacy. Please don't assume that you do.
Yeah.
So I say that to everybody, bad faith or good faith. But good faith ones actually have a lot of value, like this writer's talking about, where it's like, hey, I know my partner's mental health. I know that they're reluctant to talk about some things. And, you know, the writer says, like, I'm worried they're talking only about our relationship, which, you know, actually, writer, is a big part of everybody's life, right? Like, their relationship is a big part. A lot of people are scared that if they're talking about it in therapy, it's inherently bad. That's not true at all.
Yeah, that could be the jumping off point.
Yes, and especially if we're talking about PTSD,
right?
And like, PTSD is almost always going to be relational, right? There's always going to be a history where an agent acted upon you and created something, right? Especially CPTSD, because that means it happened over and over and over again. It's almost always going to be relationship-based.
Or in the ocean.
Or the SEA.
Different.
A lot of people don't know about CPTSD.
That was good.
That's how life coach
I'll be
Jacob
laughing about it later.
goes. Almost.
You guys are all going to get that in about an hour.
It'll land. So, you know, in those situations, I would just argue, writer, that I do think it's very possible that any conversation, even those about relationships, are going to route back into this. Like things like, oh man, my partner's always so frustrated because they tell me to do things and they get distracted and I don't follow through and we're fighting about it. I think they're not being reasonable. Okay, now we're talking about ADHD, right? Because part of the way we measure the diagnosis of ADHD is its impact upon those around you. So a lot of this stuff is relationally based. Your depression we're talking about your isolation. Now we're also talking about your relationship, right? And like stresses. So I would argue, writer, that everything is flowing into itself. It is appropriate. It is okay. You would ask your partner first. They would ask the therapist. You need to keep in mind, your partner may tell you, oh, that's a great idea, honey. I'd love to have you come. That's great. Let me go talk to my therapist about it.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, Whitney, I really don't want her to come here, but if I tell her it's my problem, she's going to beat me. So I would like you to say no. And then it's like, yep. And then we'll do it. We'll be the bad guy. Just like whenever you were a kid and you're like, oh, can I spend the night at Mike's? And like you're winking at your parent and you're like, please don't let me go. And they're like, no, not tonight. You have chores in the morning. Same thing. I just make my patients do chores is what I'm trying to say.
You didn't want to go spend
You never had a
overnights with
scenario
kids?
where a friend was inviting you to sleep over and they were like
didn't wanna
already.
go?
Did you ever have that scenario, Jim?
So I've never had any friends, but
There you
I
go.
believe it would go down like this. I practiced what to do if a friend invited me over,
Just
so
in
I could
case.
get out of it,
Right.
if I needed to. Like you're playing at your house or whatever, and like your buddy has to go home, and they're like, "Oh, can I stay the night?" And you're like, "Oh, I would have to ask my parent." And so then you have to go ask your parent, but like you don't want them to stay the night, or they're inviting you over, and so like you have a signal to your parent to like let them know.
I'm starting to see why you didn't have friends.
Yeah, you got to think this stuff out,
I
Tam.
have to admit I've done that.
Come on, you think you wouldn't?
Or like,
I'm
Mom,
surprised
say
you
no.
never did.
Say no. I don't want to do this.
I tried to
tonight.
get SJ to
Yeah.
call you guys tonight and tell you that I couldn't come out.
Damn it! I know. My mom said
Hey,
no.
he's really sick.
Oh,
Yeah, he's drunk.
He really doesn't want to see you. I mean, he really is sick.
She would just screenshot your text to her and just send it to us. Like, hey, he said something about going to fucking
Could you
yourself.
nicely tell them to fuck off?
And I don't know if this is different, but or different for guys, but for a girl when you're young, it's like your friend will try and spend the night for like 5 nights in a row.
Oh, really? It's a marathon
you know,
thing?
yeah, they'll just stay.
Oh, okay.
Or, you know, it's not like a one night thing.
They're just not
I
going
didn't-
home.
yeah.
Yeah, so
And
it's
then you
like
don't know
in
how
the
to
summer,
say, like,
in the
"Please
summer or
leave."
something. Yeah, so you're like, oh, I really want to go like to Hurricane Harbor with my other friend. Can you tell them no? Like,
Ooh, that's a thing.
yeah,
That is
before
a thing.
social media.
Yeah.
So, before we turn this, I want to one more question I've got, because I'm kind of on the writer's side here, where I don't do private practice,
Right.
so I'm just kind of curious how you two would handle situations like this. In my experience, working in substance use, with when a partner like emails, gives me some information,
Right.
the majority of the time, I'm not shocked by anything they tell me.
Right.
You're
yeah.
not like,
It's
I
not-
didn't know this.
Yeah, it's not like oh shit, thank you. With
Right.
the exception of adolescents.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know they
Adolescents
killed
that-
their sibling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They murdered their
Yeah.
sibling.
He showed me the video.
But like for most adults, when they contact me and they tell me information, I, as the therapist who've been working with this individual for a while,
Right.
I'm like, oh, I've kind of picked up on that.
Yeah.
Thank you for confirming it. You know,
Right.
in my
Yeah.
mind, I don't
Yeah.
say this.
Yeah.
But it's never really.
Thanks for
I
nothing,
think,
bucko.
You don't know shit.
From the family member's perspective, I think that a lot of times family members feel like they've got really valuable information that the therapist is completely
I'm
oblivious
sure
of.
he
Yes.
drinks alcohol.
Well,
But in reality, I
Right.
think a lot of times the therapist already has some sort of idea.
That's
Because
That's
that family member thinks like, oh, my brother, sibling, husband, whatever, wife, whatever it is, like that family member thinks like, I know this thing about them.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're so good at hiding it from
Yeah.
everyone else. And the truth is, they're not good at hiding it from anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
As evidenced by a lot of the clients that I've worked with, you know, when they were in their addiction.
Yeah.
You know, when we would do a family group or whatever.
You know they're
And
hiding
they would,
pills.
And
Of
they would
course
say,
they're hiding pills.
They would say
What?
they would come out to their family member and be like, "Okay, remember last Thanksgiving? I was actually drunk." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah,
You passed out in the mashed
you
potatoes.
idiot."
Yeah, we had to resuscitate you.
Yeah, we know that.
You peed in the tea
I,
jar.
It's never a shock. To
We
the
were
family,
aware.
right?
But having said that, I think all of us would agree, whatever discipline, whatever setting, family feedback is illuminating. And like
absolutely.
it is really good for context. I mean, I've had patients that I've worked with for years. And then one day they'll say like, hey, my spouse really wants to come in and share some things with you. And I'll tell them, okay, here's my policies, blah, blah, blah. Are you cool with it? They're like, yeah, no, for real I am. And I'm like, great. And the spouse comes in and I have had things where the spouse starts telling me things and I'm like, what? And I'll look at the other person like, you never told me any of this. Like, and then you realize how much they were minimizing certain
Yeah.
things. And, you know, but like if that ends up being your situation and you do share and the therapist didn't know a lot of this stuff, understand that you're not going to get a big reaction out of us and we're not going to validate you. So as
Right.
we're listening, we're not going to go, oh my God, that must have been terrible. Oh my gosh, it must be so difficult. Oh, that's not how he characterized that fight at all. Wow. So he's like, we're not going to do any of that
We're just gonna say,
because the most important thing in therapy
yep.
is the alliance we have with the patient. And so we are not going to betray them. We're just going to nod and thank you for the information. And then later we're going to circle back with them and we're not going to say, so why you been lying to me, dog? We're going to say, hey, sounds like they had this perspective. So let's unpack that, right? Like, and we're not going to, again, we're not fact finders. We're really not interested
that's what
in
I
what
was
the
going to say. It's up
capital
to
T
them.
truth is.
If they want to get
I
that
don't
out of
care.
therapy or don't, or want to
Yeah.
minimize, that's up to them. And if your spouse doesn't want to share certain things, they aren't ready to, then they don't have to.
Exactly.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, let me just ask the question before making a statement. Let me just ask a question. Scale of 1 to 10. How much do you care about the patient's spouse/family member at all? Like realistically, how much
Depends on the
outside
issue.
of like how they are directly affecting the patient?
If it's addiction stuff, I'm very curious.
Okay.
And like, think about it. Like, whenever we do intakes at rehabs and stuff, we usually try to reach out to the family at some point.
Collateral
and just gather.
information is
It really
very
is important because there's
Yeah.
so much deception in addiction work.
What about
I
just
think-
in what
I
about just
think
in your
to-
private family practice?
I think to Jacob's point, ultimately, at the end of the day, our allegiance is towards our client.
Yes.
Always, yeah.
Always number one.
You're concerned about the family members and other ancillary characters as far as it concerns the client.
the patient.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in private practice, like even when I'm not dealing with addiction stuff and just general mental health, I'm interested in the families and the spouses and stuff from the patient's perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Like
Now,
if they come in and say, my spouse always starts the fights.
right, like, okay.
Great, I
'Cause
don't
look,
care.
at the end of the day, I assume that there's a lot that the person's sharing with me that is not accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. If I'm good at this and I keep bonding to them and I get deeper and deeper into their understanding well, at some point I start to notice the discrepancies and I can figure it out for myself.
Also, sometimes the truth isn't really what's important. The perception is.
That's
Yeah.
all
So,
that's
like,
important.
Jacob's example of
Yeah.
like, my spouse is always starting the fight.
Right.
Well, I don't care what's true.
Right.
That's
If
a
you're saying that
perception.
earnestly,
So if that's the perception, then that's what we
we
need
have to work.
address.
Yeah, my spouse is always yelling at me. Your spouse is a librarian. I know. I have amazing hearing.
Your spouse died 3.5 years ago.
Now it's starting to matter.
I think it's interesting though. A lot of times for psychiatry and for therapy, asking the client or your client how they are interacting with people around them, or
Right.
what their input is, like how.
I always ask
You know
that.
what I mean?
Oh, what
Like,
does your wife say when you
yes,
do that?
yes.
Oh, she says that I'm this and that.
Yeah.
Okay. And like that's
That's
data for me. That's
information, yeah.
very important data. It's like, okay, so an outside observer describes you this way. Got it. Because
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I didn't see you at lunch,
Yeah.
but they did, and that was their takeaway. So
Totally.
interesting.
And I think lastly, the last thing that I was going to say was just that if you're really worried about him not bringing up something, I don't know how open you're feeling with your partner, but maybe asking them, hey, have you mentioned this in therapy? Or this is something that, might be important, like very gently, but you can make suggestions. And if they say, oh, yeah, sure, or no, and they get defensive, then just back off and let them
Right.
do their thing. But I think it's always okay to gently bring that up and like curiously, like we always say, not so much you need to talk about this because it's a problem, but
Right.
hey, have you talked about this?
Yeah. I think gentle nudges, as long as it's in a spirit of encouragement, is fine.
Yeah.
But no, there really is room, because the truth is there's a lot of people, and especially in addictions work, like, and I have a case right now that I've been dealing with, and bumping into the patient's family was very important, because I didn't realize how pre-contemplative the patient was. I believed the patient was revealing to me the full scope of what's been going on. And I discovered through the lens of the family, oh no, the patient didn't knowingly deceive me, but just didn't think any of it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the family's like, what?
Yeah.
This. And I'm like, oh no, you are way worse than I realized. We need to do something.
Substance use and gambling
Oh, gambling.
are the two big ones where you have to get other people involved
Need
because
perspective.
and it's not really I don't want to blame the client. It's just it's
Well,
their
it's the nature
defense
of it.
mechanism.
Yeah.
There's a blind eye.
Self-preservation.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and
That's-
think about it. Even some of these issues like PTSD, I mean, a lot of the things that we exhibit that become mental illnesses are really first noticed by those around us.
Yeah, right.
They're the ones who are like, hey, do you realize you do this in our relationship? It's like, oh, I did not. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not normal. I've dated other people. They didn't do that. I have friends. I've checked in with them. They think this is odd. You should consider this. And that's when we first start looking in the mirror and going, oh, why do I do that?
Most people I've dated know that New England is not a state.
It's,
Rare-
it's not
rare
obvious.
rare
Nick.
bird
It's
you got
not
there, Nick.
obvious. It's not. Why is the team? I don't want to. talk about
2/3 of people that Nick does podcasts with knows that New England is not a state.
it. I was told there'd be no map. Anonymous, thank you for the question. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about how sex ended a friendship. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty's Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Dirty B, Byler, T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanros, Hannah Marie. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. Okay, and the trivia for tonight, thrown together at the last minute.
That's my favorite
By
kind.
yours truly.
Yes.
Which happened first? That's all you have to do.
The chicken.
All right.
Which happened first?
Oh.
Okay.
John F. Kennedy is assassinated, or grabbing the face mask is prohibited in the NFL?
Oh my God.
Kennedy.
Kennedy was going to be my guess.
I'm going to go with the NFL, guys. That seems like an obvious one.
All right.
Kennedy was killed in like the
64.
What
I'm like
country?
60.
What country was Kennedy killed in? Jim?
Yeah. What country? They were
by a missile, if I recall. Yeah, I feel like football's so old. I mean,
All right.
I'm going to go with face mask. That's one of the
Oh,
first
wait,
rules you got to make in
NFL.
football.
I was thinking
'Cause they used to
NHL
have that
for some
one
reason.
bar across the face,
Right.
And that just screams, "Grab me by the fucking head!"
It was a handle.
It's a
It
handle.
wasn't a face mask.
Dudes
It was
were
a
getting
handle.
thrown. Yeah, that was like rule number 2.
So
Was
Jim's
do not
answer is
grab
locked
this
in,
guy.
right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're saying face mask.
I'm going in on face mask.
So
Yeah,
before
whatever.
they had the one bar, they had no bars.
Oh, that's true. They just had the skin helmet. Yeah, you're right.
That's
So
right.
there was no face mask for them to make
Yeah,
a
that's a
rule
good
about
point.
for a long
Yeah.
time.
You might be right. We'll see how deep.
I thought, but not by the 60s. By the 60s, they had face masks.
I feel like it's getting. All right, what is it?
All right, so you're saying
JFK.
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 I'm
Okay.
going face mask.
It is the face mask. Wow! Face masking, that became a rule in 1962 when JFK was assassinated November 22nd,
That's pretty late
63.
for
There you
that
go.
I
rule to
said
show up,
60.
man. I'm uncomfortable with that.
I
That's
know, that
late.
was-
I don't know
All
when
right.
when face masks came into the NFL, though.
Okay, next question. We're doing 2 per commercial.
Great.
I like it.
Which happened first?
The chicken.
McDonald's was founded.
Ooh.
The first prisoners arrived in Auschwitz.
Oh Jesus, this
So
is
I
dark.
just started Man's Search for Meaning.
I just reread it too.
Did you? I'm reading it for the first time.
Oh,
I
okay.
was
okay.
actually going to check that out.
I'll
Yeah.
say
It's free on Audible if you have an Audible subscription.
I don't, but maybe I should get one.
McDonald's.
Okay, Jacob says
So
McDonald's.
sorry, what was it? Was
McDonald's
when
McDonald's
Auschwitz.
was founded,
they founded,
or the
okay.
first prisoners arrived in Auschwitz.
Which happened first?
Yep.
So wait, Auschwitz would be World War II. So
Good job.
1940s.
Okay.
Man, I feel like McDonald's is older than that, right?
I think
It's hard because it got popular, I'm sure, later. But like when
Did
were they
McDonald's-
founded?
Yeah, was McDonald's the first drive-through? So like cars would be necessary.
no, they were
None
they
of
were a
that is-
drive
I
they were a
think
drive up.
important.
to walk up.
They were a drive up when they started. Like the OG Sonic.
I'm gonna say Auschwitz.
I'm going to go McDonald's
Even though
because
McDonald's seems like
I
the
think
trick.
Nick would have been uncomfortable making the right answer, the Holocaust. So I'm going to go
Auschwitz.
McDonald's.
Oh, I don't think you
I
know
don't
me at all.
Oh, I know you, bitch. I know you.
No one expects.
Also,
the Spanish
there's an
Inquisition.
outcry on the Discord that I use the word bitch too much. So now I'm
yeah.
very insecure about
Yeah,
it.
I'm glad somebody said something.
It's
'Cause
one
it was,
person.
Nick's been telling me this
I
for
won.
years.
I
But
would
he's
say
loud.
I would describe it as gratuitous.
You're probably right. Oh, bitch.
Quit bitching.
Bitch,
Quit
bitch,
your
bitch.
bitching.
No, it is McDonald's. McDonald's.
Two for two.
2 for 2.
McDonald's was founded May 15th, 1940. Auschwitz,
I
the
knew it was
first
gonna be
prisoners
40.
arrived May
42?
20th,
Wow.
1940. So
Oh.
5 days earlier.
Wow. Thank you for that
So close.
uplifting
Okay,
trivia,
barely.
Nick.
There you go.
We're all better people,
There you go.
I guess.
You're not better people. But
Sex
now
ended
you know.
my friendship from Jim. Hi, Pod Therapy. It's Jim from Pod Therapy. Nick and I are no longer friends. Hi, Pod Therapy. I love your show and have gotten so much out of it in the short time since I started listening.
Awesome.
About a year ago, I had a brief fling with a longtime friend of over 15 years. We had briefly seen each other maybe 17 years ago, but nothing physically happened.
I had a brief fling with a friend over the age of 17 years.
She kind of ghosted me then, and we reconnected as friends years later. Fast forward to a year ago. Her marriage was unraveling, and I was one of her closest friends throughout the whole divorce process. We texted constantly, and I was spending 3 to 5 days a week with her, helping out and just hanging out, all usually initiated by her. I admittedly had always had a lingering crush, but had firmly decided I would not act on those feelings and only be there as a friend. About 5 months in, with the bulk of the divorce behind her, both of us got drunk, she made a move, and we slept together. We agreed to be friends with benefits. I was the one to suggest it, which I now realize was a big mistake on my part. But it was short-lived. She ended it with a vague explanation of not realizing the consequences and became very distant. I asked her to talk and told her the sudden distance was confusing and affecting me mentally. And I also mentioned that I did have feelings, although I tried not to make a big thing of it because I genuinely cared more about our friendship. It felt like the talk went okay. She even made it seem like she might be open to a relationship in the future, which wasn't my expectation or my goal, but was good to hear if I'm being honest. She then distanced much more heavily, barely speaking to me at all and barely acknowledging me at a party we were both at a month later. A couple months go by, and she messages me saying she was sorry for the distance, but what I said about having feelings had weighed on her, and she didn't know how to act in relation to me. I thought that was going to be a turning point, but she has remained mostly distant for about 9 months now, reaching out the odd times, mostly just in group chats with other friends, but a couple times suggesting spending time together, but she wouldn't follow through with making actual plans. I can't tell if she's trying to reconnect or just placating me because we have mutual close friends, and she knows we'll continue to see each other. I've tried engaging a couple of those times earlier on, but it felt like she didn't want to meaningfully engage, and so I've mostly stopped trying. I feel like maybe I'm being a jerk by never reaching out and not really engaging with her when we're around each other. It's been hurtful having her push me away so many times. I feel like I'm in self-protection mode with her. I also think it's likely we've probably both misread each other's actions many times, assuming she cares enough to notice. I want to talk with her, but I don't feel like I can trust her, that she'll be direct and honest about her feelings and wants, and will just try to manage my feelings. I'm really just hoping for clarity so I can move on with my life. I really miss her friendship, although not sure if this is still lingering feelings, and she wasn't always the best friend if I really think about it, and would like to work to get back. But if that's not what she wants, then I'd like to know so I can stop worrying about it. I lean AP and have very low self-worth, which I'm working on.
Help me out there.
I don't know.
Okay.
AP. I don't know. And she definitely leans, anxious attachment.
I was going to say, it sounds like anxiety from what he says after.
Yeah,
but...
I lean AP and have very low self-worth, which I'm working on, and she definitely leans avoidant. I wasn't sure where to add that in. I apologize for the long letter. I tried to be concise. Thank you all so much for everything you do, Jim. That'd be great if I started writing letters into the show. Just my diary now. Like, hey guys, I'm on this podcast and I just don't think anybody fucking likes me.
I'll be honest, I'm
Who's
really
talking?
Surprised you haven't.
How do you know?
That's true. I don't know.
Anonymous.
I don't know. Yeah.
I am the one who manages the queue.
You do. Yeah.
You have no clue what
Jim
goes
is
into
not
that.
a good secret
I don't think you
keeper.
check the Tumblr ever.
I
So,
don't.
That's
I don't
fair.
even know how.
There's a lot of trust.
I don't know the password.
Oh, really?
No.
It's a lot of
It's the same password.
I'm on the Tumblr all the time. You
Yeah.
guys-
Is
you
it
don't know that?
password?
Yeah, it's
It probably
password.
is.
Password out, whatever, 2006.
Oh my gosh. So the question is basically, how do I get over this relationship, essentially?
It's a tough one.
So there's one sentence in here that I highlighted that I wanted to kind of talk about. But I don't feel like I can trust that she is willing to be direct and honest about her feelings and her wants.
Yeah.
I highlighted that because one thing I want you to be open to, is the fact that she may not really fully understand
I definitely
her
thought
feelings and her wants. Because this is a very confusing situation. You know, when you are friends and then you sleep together and then one of you's got feelings and the other one is kind of left with like, I don't
Especially
know.
right out of divorce.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And that's
Yeah.
a really tough time. You're ending a relationship. You know, are these feelings like genuine feelings, or is it just like there's another human being who finds me attractive and you just kind of connect to that person? So she's going through a lot. And so I guess, you know, it's not necessarily, I just wanted to point it out because I don't think it's necessarily her being honest or not being honest. I think it's more just her trying to figure out how she feels.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing's exploratory. One thing, writer, that I think you didn't mention, but I just want to speak to it. You haven't done anything wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're human beings, and like we're there for our person, and we're supporting them, and we care for them. And she was very vulnerable, and she was going through a very interesting time. And you were spending 3 to 5 days a week together during this laborious divorce thing. You drank together, you're friends. Like, that was a good time. She made a move, and you did kind of deep down still have a connection, and you enjoyed it. And then afterward, you thought, hey, I don't regret this. I'm comfortable with this. Do you want to just kind of keep things in the middle? That was unsustainable. You didn't do anything wrong. And like, sometimes whenever the other person is avoidant of us or pulling away from us or is distant, we can sit down, especially if you're anxious type, and really scrutinize. Like, oh my gosh, did I send the wrong signals? Was I predatory? Was I, secretly hoping this would happen? Did I sabotage their marriage because I was, maybe being too available and too friendly? And I enjoyed the comparison that, my friend would sometimes make of like, oh, I should have married a guy like you. You're really nice. And he doesn't listen to me or whatever.
That you
Yeah, I mean, it's all fiction. I'm making this whole thing up.
Very
Off the
detailed.
top of the cuff. Just right out of the first page of the diary.
Like,
So, you can get in this weird place where you're like, oh man, like, did I do something wrong whenever these emotions mix? And from your story, no. I just think you were organically there. You were available. You have feelings. You were honest about that. But this is a game-changing thing.
Yeah.
You can't go back.
no.
You can't unsex that relationship.
No.
And it's kind of one of those things like I've kind of been in. I was thinking about this as we were reading this. Out of the 4 people in this room,
You've had sex with 3 of us. Yeah.
No, but the 3 of you have been in really long-term relationships.
Right.
But I've been in a situation with this, where it's like you're friends and then there's kind of the sex that gets involved and then you kind of have to make a decision like, well, you can't go back.
Right.
It is like, okay, you have to just be honest with like, okay, here's how I feel about it. This is what I'd like to see move forward. And you kind of have to make a decision. And sometimes that sucks because it means that you have to just say like, I want this or I can't have this.
Can you restore a platonic relationship? Can that be done?
Yes.
Can you? Because it's like the shattered glass.
I think it's tough, but yes.
You can
I was
put it
gonna
back
say,
together
very
again.
challenging.
There's some time involved, things like
Time.
that.
Time.
Yeah.
My parents are now very, very good friends.
Yeah, you've talked about that.
Yeah, they've been divorced for 30 some odd years, and they are now. Like, it took a long time, but
Right.
and also the birth of a grandbaby from my brother.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that helped too.
They like hang out though without people.
They do.
Okay. Wow.
Not like probably not just the 2 of them together, but like the 3 of them, like my dad, his wife, and my mom,
Okay.
or like my dad's wife and my mom hang out.
And it's just
like the 2 of
genuine
them.
friendship at this point.
Like they're just they pal around.
Shared heritage.
Yeah, they do. They're in a lot of friend groups, like small, tight friend groups. They take vacations together. They've all come out here together and stayed with me.
Wow. Yeah, sharing
Although,
children and grandkids.
It's not easy, and it's
Yeah.
and like it,
And
and that's
time.
a unique definitely
context.
took time.
Yeah, that's
And
a context.
I think one thing that may be a little bit different in that situation is that there was a relationship, a very well-defined relationship,
Yeah.
and then that changed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it sounds like, there's
That's
kind of
true.
that
You're
friendly
wobbling.
relationship, and
Yeah.
you're still not really sure, and you're trying to figure out,
yeah.
where are these boundaries and where do they lie?
I have
Well-
2 thoughts on it,
Yeah.
and
Let's hear it.
one is the pessimist in me that you all know and love very well.
Yeah.
We do.
And I'm just gonna, and I'm talking to everyone, not just the people
Megatron.
in this room.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm just gonna ask you the question, and we don't know the answer. From some of the things in your email, is this friendship really worth? Do you really want to go back and dig this up?
Yeah, good point.
So just take that
Food for thought.
and just take that and run with it. I don't need to expound on that, but you think about that and figure that out. If it is, and your friend, fuck buddy, whatever you want to call them, not fuck buddy,
Ex-fuck buddy.
potential one-time fuck buddy. If you really want to salvage something, I mean, you can just say to her, call her, send her an email, send her a text, whatever. Hey, things have been weird. Can we have dinner and just talk about it? Can you and I just sit down and talk frankly and openly, have a real conversation about this, and be open to anything in that conversation. Be open to, at the end of that conversation, walking away, going like, we have parted with respect and mutual admiration, but we are not going to continue in the manner that we were before, or we're going to give it a go. We're going, maybe you're going to be romantic, whatever that outcome is going to be. Be prepared for wherever that's going to go, but that'll at least give you something to look at and go like, well, fuck, I tried.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to reflect on this letter and say that she, even if it's through avoidance, has kind of said what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
She's pulled away. You said you've tried. That was what I was looking for reading through that, was you said you've approached her, told her your feelings, told her what you want, and she's kind of stayed pulled away. Now, maybe that, I think what Nick's saying is really great insight, and it's probably really like on point a lot. She might just be trying to process that. What I would say for you is take what she's saying at face value. I mean, like, she's not responding, so you can only control yourself and do what makes you feel best. And if kind of pining after this person and feeling like, oh, is she upset because I didn't talk to her at this party? Or is she hurt by that? I mean, that's a lot of assumptive language. And so pulling back and just doing what feels best for you at this point, and kind of separating from her, I think would be best.
That's a great point, because that's a really good point, because we're kind of approaching this as in like the writer has a decision. Mm-hmm. The writer really doesn't.
No.
The writer kind of can say like, here's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of your decision making, and you kind of just like, hey, here's kind of where my heart is. Here's where my mind is. And you just throw it on the table, and she kind of has to make that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I really think that this is not a unique scenario. I don't think every
I agree. I don't think it's
set of
like
friends,
rare.
Yeah, none of my friends
I've
banging
slept
it
with
out.
many friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
Really? Again, I'm left out of this shit? God damn it. How much chocolate have I sent you over the years?
Remember. That's
that's the bit.
That's what's really
Go in that
insulting
direction.
in
That
this whole
was
thing.
the bit. Yeah, run that way. No, I do think it's a really common, outcome. Not super duper common. If everybody out there, it's like, oh my god, my partner has a, opposite gendered friend. Are they gonna have sex? No, I'm not saying that. I don't think it's that common. But there is, and this is me getting pretty meta, but there, in my view, I think that there is an inherent, in any situation where your sexual orientation aligns with the gender of a friend of yours, there is, at some level, even if it's very, very small, some kind of sexual tension.
I totally agree with
humans.
that. I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
just
I'm very
exists.
alone, or not alone, but I feel like people disagree with that a lot. Like,
No.
you can just be friends.
No,
I'm
they're
like,
in denial
Is
about
that why Whitney's sitting so close to me?
it. Right. Yeah.
You were
Yeah,
such
that
a-
and we don't have chairs.
Like that. Oh, at least you're wearing pants today.
Yeah, thank God.
We have
Today
all
was
these
the one day.
microphones, and Whitney wants to use mine.
Yeah, so
Hey,
weird.
hey,
I appreciate you doing
Jacob.
that. Yeah.
Hi.
No, but it's something that we don't acknowledge
Well,
because
this is like when Harry met Sally. This is the.
I'll have what she's having.
I love when Harry.
It was such a good movie.
I watched it for the first time last year in my whole life.
Oh,
it was
really?
so good.
Oh yeah, that
Okay,
ages
sorry.
so well.
Hold on,
It's
hold
still
on.
great.
I'm just listening. Nope, no one's surprised.
Not one person. Yeah, you're always late to this party.
Yeah, I guess I assumed what it was about, and then I watched it. I'm like, I didn't know they were friends who fell in
Oh, so
love.
great.
I was like, that's so cute.
But we need to acknowledge that because, and I get it. I get why people don't want to because they want it to be all relationships that are not my romantic relationship have zero effect on me, zero interest in me. And I would never do that. And it doesn't affect me. That's fine. You're still a conscious human who can make conscious choices, right?
Right.
But there is a gravity, a
Some
magnetism
subtle
to
or-
all relationships,
Yeah.
right? Like when I stand at the edge of the Grand Canyon, I can feel the gravity that might pull me through. I'm not going to fucking jump. And so just because I'm near it and I'm aware of that tension doesn't mean I'm going to act upon it, but it does exist. And so like I think what's interesting about this dynamic in this letter, you have a friendship where that has been crossed.
Yeah.
And once that's gone, it does fuck things up in my view. It's very hard to keep that friendship and this is I agree with Jacob. Yes, I think hypothetically with some big context change.
Yeah.
It is
It's not
possible.
impossible, but
it's possible to transition to another version of things. I think it's really hard to go from a true decades-long platonic friendship where we had the tension, but we never did anything about it, and we just enjoyed the friendship. We made our choices to we've crossed that bridge.
Well, I think it also matters if both parties are on the same page.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, like, if both parties are like, okay, yeah, no, we're definitely friends. We had one night where shit got crazy, but we're friends.
Right.
As opposed to one party that's like, no, I'm not fine with being friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the other party's like, no, we're just friends.
Well, okay, like another
That's how Peter and I
example.
started
If you've ever had a friend... Here
Well,
goes.
all right, stop it. We're stopping
cut
everything.
film. Yeah,
Let's,
cut tape. This is-
we're going
new
switching
take.
to this topic.
I think it's kind of like if you've ever been in a fight with your friend. It's one thing whenever like you're arguing or something like that. It's another thing if they put hands on you. You've changed our friendship now.
The dynamic
And
has
I've warned Nick
changed.
about this a lot of times because he could beat me
How
up
many
accidentally
times has
and
he
not
done?
realize it. No. Sometimes he raises his voice, and I talk to him after. I'm like, "Hey, you can yell at
It
me, but
changed
never
your
hit me because
relationship.
that'll end the relationship.
Yeah,
Because you
yeah,
could
it's
do
too
it
far.
really fast. Like I will
Nick,
break
too
like a
far.
fucking twig. But no, that would end the relationship. It would be
Mental
over.
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mental fit personal training. Watch me break this man in half. Oh my God, that guy needs to train me. So, but it would fundamentally change the relationship to the point where it's like, it's not a question of if this would happen. It's a question of when this could happen next, right?
Yeah.
And so every fight, there's now this new tension of
an
you
option.
could put hands on me. And every warm moment that you share is a platonic friendship. Every fun time. Every time you call him and you're like, hey, you want to get lunch today? Fuck yeah, I do. That sounds great. Great. And you get there and like round of sake and like we're having sake. It's like, oh, are we going to fuck? Like, no, I don't think we're going to, but like we could because it's happened.
I know what sake means.
Yeah.
That's the code word.
Yeah, they'll have another, please.
Sock you on my titties.
The drops are just throwing in on this one. Ryder, thank you for this question. It's a really good one. And,
Yeah.
looking forward to the Discord chat on this one.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
the episode
I'm
yeah.
so
Discord chat
curious.
No, I think
will be a
a-
good one.
Yeah,
I want
a
to
lot
hear
of our-
people's input on that.
A lot of our
Yeah.
listeners, I think, have been in situations like this. I
Right.
think, you know.
Lots of fuck buddies out there.
Whoa! Whitney, you haven't even been to Scoop Fest. You don't know how this goes down. You don't know none of the rules.
Regret fist is real.
Regret Fest is a Scoop Fest has so many random hookups. They've created a designated breakfast at the end of Scoop Fest.
This is not
filled
true.
with regret.
It's regret fist.
They call it Regret Fest. It's just to acknowledge that, hey, we all did shit. Now it's time to move on.
Now it's time to go back to life.
Time to go back
How
to your
does Jim
lives.
know about that?
I went to Scoop Fest last year. That's why I
thought
wrote
you
this
went to
question
Regret
about
Fest.
Nick.
Oh,
I
no,
told you.
regret fest. You go to regret fest. I go to regret fest.
Oh, it's a
awesome.
delicious breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh, okay, fair.
delicious. It's also just good for getting COVID since that's what we did last year. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about improving my social skills. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty's Scoop, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Dirty B, Byler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanros, and Hannah Marie. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy.
Therapy.
All right, which happened first? The last use of the guillotine in France.
Ooh.
Star Wars A New Hope is released in theaters.
God. These are competitive? Mm-hmm. Oh, no. Oh, that's not okay.
It's not a big gap, we realized from the last year.
Jesus. Either
Yeah.
Star Wars was released during the Napoleonic era,
We have a history
or I
person
am
over
very
here.
upset at France. Damn, man.
What do you think, Jim?
That's dark.
You have to go first now.
It's which one happened last?
Which one happened first?
Did Star Wars happen and
It's
then
gonna be
somebody got
Star
their head
Wars
chopped
for the
off
shock
with a
value.
guillotine?
It's going to be Star Wars for the shock value. Again, I'm not answering these based on my understanding of history. They're being answered based on
is
my understanding
none.
of Nick. That's it. But I'm going with Star Wars because I know that's how he would frame this question. You're a predictable, basic
Oh
bitch.
boy.
I am a basic bitch.
Yeah,
And there's bitch again.
I want
He
Star
used
Wars.
it.
I know.
Yeah, suck it.
I'll be honest. I love the fall when the pumpkin spice latte comes.
Oh, who doesn't?
You just said
I'm
that.
counting
That
down
was
the
adorable.
days. Also, I went to a store today. They have Halloween shit.
Yes,
out.
yes, it is
What?
out.
It is August. It is
I'm
early August.
ready for it.
It is summer. I'm ready for the fall too, but it's summer.
It is still summer. It's going to be
not
summer through
okay.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Halloweens are very warm. though.
Yeah, it's like literally on
t-shirt and
Halloween it
shorts.
gets chilly. I feel like.
Yeah, like
day.
November, early November.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the day because we go out that night. That's
Yeah,
the
you
first
go
time
out
you
that
walk
night,
around
like,
at night.
ooh.
You feel the chill in the air. I'm going Star Wars. What do you got?
Which happened first? I mean the guillotine because I'm on a roll. 0 for 0.
Crush it. Way to
It
lean
was
in.
Star Wars.
It was Star Wars.
Damn
Star
it.
Wars
Yeah.
was
The
May
basic
25th,
bitch.
1977.
Fuck, France? Really?
The last use of the guillotine was September 10th, 1977.
Wow.
That's closer than I thought it was.
Yeah, same year.
You know what, though?
Same year, months
I'm not going to
apart.
judge France because that shit's probably more humane than what America's been doing for like the last 50
So
fucking
I've always
years.
wondered about this because I feel like I've read some stuff where like doctors would like meet up with somebody who was going to be executed, and they would say like, okay, I need you to, once your head gets chopped off, blink once a second.
They'd ask him to do that?
Yeah. And
Damn.
they
You know
would,
what?
they would blink like, I don't know what the number
That's
was,
not
like
that
14
fucked
or
up.
15
I would
times.
honestly be flattered. I'd be like, wow, you've given me purpose to my last second. Like, I'm contributing to science.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
There
Yeah.
are also stories of, especially during some of the revolutionary stuff in that time period, where they'd just be taking people's heads off with the guillotine all day long.
Damn.
And when that guillotine is sharp, I believe it's real quick.
Oh, I didn't even think
I've heard
about
some
that.
stories where
And
they've
it's
had
not
to do it a
sharp,
couple
it's,
times.
it's multiple drops.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So sleep on that tonight, everybody.
Not on a guillotine. That's
No.
dangerous.
All right.
Oh, God.
Next question.
Only if it's dull.
Man, that's rough.
Which happened first? Thurgood Marshall is confirmed as the first African American justice of the United States Supreme Court, or the Green Bay Packers win Super Bowl I.
Wow. Huh.
Green,
Green
Bay.
Bay Packers. I don't know football.
Okay. Jacob says Green Bay.
I'll go Green Bay.
I'm going to go Green Bay too.
Okay.
I'll take Thurgood Marshall.
It is Green Bay.
Woo! Finally got a
happened
point.
On the board.
Happened in the
I know,
same
yes.
year, but obviously the Super Bowl being January 15th, 1967.
Oh, come on. It's down to
Thurgood
months.
Marshall was August 30th,
Oh, fuck your
1967.
game. No, I continue under
Yep,
protest.
fuck
this
my
is
game.
terrible.
I think Jim is either now tied
No,
or
I have
losing.
like all the goddamn points. I
did-
haven't missed
I
one.
think I've missed one. No, you just
just
missed
missed
one.
one.
I missed Thurgood. That's
Yeah,
it.
and I think I missed one.
No, you've
I've
missed
made
a
one.
shit ton.
No, I think I missed
Also,
one.
Whitney's definitely not.
I don't
even
know.
in this
Jacob got a
conversation.
lot over there.
Yeah, I
The
think I
writers,
missed one.
the listeners will
Whitney,
let us
you
know.
only say that because you're on his lap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
your
I told
bias
you.
is kind of
We're
visible.
sharing the same mic.
Yeah,
So,
I get it. No, that's the only mic in the room
Yeah.
with 5 mics.
yeah, he set it up.
Yeah, no, I get it. He's the audio guy. It's weird how
Yeah.
he makes it just work for him.
Yeah.
Improving my social skills from Anonymous. Hi guys, and Whitney. Yay! Did you by the way hear the?
I was like, did I write this?
there it is. Did you see the letter from last episode where you got compliments?
I
Somebody timestamped it.
Robert Brownie Jr. meant.
Yeah, Robert said
Yeah.
that. And then several people in the Discord were furious that you weren't here. They were like, I finally have an authoritative female voice that I trust. And she bailed
I
on
did
me.
see that one. That
Just
was so
like my
sweet. I was
mother.
like, oh my
They were very
God.
specific
Oh,
comments.
gosh,
So
sorry.
you've
I'm
re-traumatized
sorry.
people. Hi, guys, and Whitney. I've been a long-time listener, and I really appreciate Whitney's addition to the show. It's nice to get the
Thank
female
you.
perspective on some of these things.
Said no one ever.
Lies. This person did.
Agree
End
to
of letter.
disagree.
My pronouns are she and her, and I had a question about making and keeping friendships as an adult.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Yep, life coach Jacob.
You've just been life coached. I feel like since I've been working from home for the past 3 years or so, I've kind of forgotten how to socialize. I met a new person at the dog park a couple months ago. We hung out at my house even. We were texting pretty regularly and then made plans to hang out again a couple of weekends ago. When I reached out to confirm our plans, she told me that she had been busy all day, understandable, and asked if we can do something the next day. I reached out the next day and never heard back from her. I don't know why this bothers me. I understand it's difficult to make and keep new friends, but the feeling of being ghosted really sucks. I know you've talked about ghosting on the show, so I'm trying not to take it personally, but I can't help but think, is it something I said? I've also found it difficult to sustain friendships I've had prior to the pandemic. I try to keep in touch with old friends, check in via text, try to make plans to get together, but they always seem to fall through. I know that we are all busy adults, but I value friendships, so this ends up being hurtful. I don't know if I've lost the ability to socialize, if I've grown out of some of my old friendships, or if they've grown out of me. Is that the case? How can I improve my social skills to help restore old friendships, or possibly gain new ones? I'm in my mid-30s and work from home, so I no longer have the opportunity to develop natural friendships like I did in school or in the workplace, and I really want to get better at building and maintaining friendships. I'm married, I have older kids, so I'm not technically lonely. My husband is my best friend, but I definitely miss the camaraderie of friendships, which have always allowed me a different social outlet and social connection than my family relationships. Any thoughts, comments, or advice are welcome. P.S. I heard the latest episode you guys were running out of questions, so I wanted to submit this. Really hope you read it on the show. Thank you. Nope.
We had no other choice.
That's all the time we've got on this week's episode. That was a good one.
Oh, man.
Making friends is a son of a bitch. I am always... So I was thinking about this the other day. So my spouse is an educator, and they have in their school... So I was a teacher for 8 years, but I taught at a private Christian school. I was super insecure about it because I was politically not in alignment with the rest of the staff. And it was during an age where all of them thought it was cool to just fucking talk politics all the time.
Oh, gosh.
And so I just kind of kept to myself.
Yeah.
And I was quite a bit younger. I was like 20 when I started teaching, and they were all in their 30s and 40s. So I just didn't align. So I never had a friend at work, never felt safe.
Yeah.
Then fast forward, I get into mental health. Nick, you were my only friend. And to this day, the only friend I've ever actually had.
How do you feel about that, Nick?
That we had to start a podcast for me to keep him. So
We're friends.
yeah. Oh, shit.
I got a side eye from Nick for that one.
Beer. This is going to be a really sloppy episode.
He has to pay you to hang
Give me
out.
the rest of that whiskey. No, it's funny because like my spouse is like going to work parties as they're getting ready for the school year, and it's like, oh, I've been invited to this thing, and like all the time they're like, oh, I'm going to happy hour, and I'm like, great, yeah, have fun, that's great. Or like, oh, so and so's hosting a house party, I'm gonna be out late tonight. And they're like, yeah, have fun, that's awesome. And I just think to myself like, wow, like I've never been at a workplace where I like had people that I made friends with, except when we would hang out, and that was it. But I never had a group. And so like, and I didn't make
Just
friends
one.
with you. I just kept going to lunch with you until you like kept saying yes.
So this is a good time, I guess, to bring this up. We're rewriting the theme song.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're working on this. By we, I mean you.
Yeah.
I just am aware of it.
You and I need to get together at some point.
Yeah.
And probably in person.
Are you inviting me to hang out?
Yes.
Like as friends?
Well, yeah.
For a purpose.
I mean, it's for a business project, but
We'll
I'll take
start
it.
as work colleagues and see where this
Yeah,
goes.
okay, yeah, that's fine. Name that tune in the Discord comments.
We do need to, at some point,
I'm glad we're doing this now.
sit together.
Production meetings.
No, because I'm
Very
making
useful.
a point.
Oh,
I'm making
okay.
a point.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, we do need to sit down at some
Jim,
point
inappropriate.
and find a time where we can collaborate together in the same room.
Like Tenacious D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you up for that?
Yeah.
Are you really, though?
I'm super excited, honestly.
Are you?
Yeah, but like,
Because
we'll
here's
figure
why
it out.
you don't have friends,
Oh,
Jim.
Christ, here we go.
Oh, yes. Point
It was a
being
trap.
made.
You bait and switched
No,
me
no,
on
no,
the
no.
goddamn show.
No.
You said you weren't going to do that.
That wasn't
No,
hard.
I'm 100% serious.
You dangled a date in front
I'm
of me
100%
to make a point.
I'm 100%
Son of a
serious.
bitch.
I'm 100% serious that we need to sit down together in one room and we need to collaborate because that's where creativity
That's
comes
true.
from.
Yes.
Okay? We need to do that.
Yes.
I don't think you're going to do it.
I will eventually.
Nah.
That doesn't sound very structured, Nick. We can't just sit down and start fucking jamming. Like, no.
Yes,
You
that's
think-
where creativity comes
You've already
from.
developed the jingle, and then you send it to me, and then I add something to it. Once we
Oh
get a
my
better
God.
sound.
This is why
Gosh.
you don't have friends.
No, because I'm fucking collaborating on the building of a song. We can't just fucking sit down and just fucking jingle it out. Like, that shit's not going to happen,
Hold
man.
on. Jim, when's the last time you invited Nick to hang out outside of
Oh,
Pod Therapy?
okay. Let's compare. Let's
do
just
that.
Fuck
Let's
this
do that.
question. Let's do this.
that.
Let's do audits on this goddamn relationship.
Tit for tat.
This is the end of the show, everybody.
Tit
It ends
for
right
tat.
fucking here. We didn't get to 300. We need a jingle that just forecasts the end of the show, like the Armageddon track. That's like, this is it. We're right there. We're about to have it. All right, so I've invited Nick to
You
the
needed
movies.
that to think about it. Okay, go on.
What?
We went to
When?
fucking Top Gun.
I invited you.
I brought 3 people. You brought yourself. I'm
That
pretty
doesn't
sure
mean
I'm
that
the
you
inviter.
invited.
I feel like it was me. That was your second time watching it.
This is hilarious.
Because I texted you, I said, "Hey, I'm going to Top Gun.
I don't feel that's
Do
what happened.
you want to go?"
I don't think that's what happened.
right,
I want to go back and
All
reread
right, keep
the text.
going. I'm going to find the
Do
text.
your forensic expert. No,
That's
no.
all the time
No.
I have today for this fucking show. Join us. I don't care when.
That should have been a bit years ago. Where Jacob just outs and goes, I'm done.
I'm done.
Fuck this show. I don't care anymore. I invited him over to my house. And so we hung out at my house once. I invited him to.
This is my fault. I'm sorry.
There's those. I think that's the only 2. So there's those 2. And then.
No, it's Jim's fault.
Oh, I helped him move. So whenever he moved houses, I was the only fucking friend who showed up. I didn't see fucking Mark
They haven't
there.
moved for like
whoever
5
that
years.
asshole is.
Haven't you lived in the house for like
Yeah, I
5
didn't see
years?
Whitney.
5 years.
That's
Not
how old our
new.
friendship is, Whitney. Move boxes, okay?
Yeah, that's hardcore.
That's friendship.
When you move people's boxes.
Fuck yeah, it is.
I do want to see you and Whitney fight over my friendship.
No, it's already won. I moved the boxes.
I obviously
that's
won.
the statement. I
No,
that's already been
we
done.
did it. You may
yeah,
have
when
won
he
the
moves
newlywed
again,
game,
you can
but-
show up and move some boxes if
And
you
he
really want
is,
to buy
and
it.
I will.
Yeah, do it. I'll be there first.
Move, Nick.
I
do
brought
it.
a U-Haul and a crew.
I
Hey
gotta
guys,
make-
I won't be.
Yeah, Jacob's gonna.
Jacob will
86
not
on that.
be.
No, but he is right though. Anytime that I think you've ever
This
texted,
beer, I'll show up and drink
I
the
also
beer.
invited you out to Windy City Hot Dogs. Okay, so but in your defense, I'm about to defend you. All right?
Okay,
I see
go ahead.
you're already throwing your hands
Yes,
up like, what the
yes,
fuck,
yes.
Jim? It's like, okay.
Okay.
In his defense, 100% of the times that Nick has randomly texted me and been like, "Hey man, what are you up to?" I say no, but he is the more flexible member of this friendship because he doesn't have kids. So I can text him randomly and be like, "Hey man, what are you up to? You want to go to a game?" Or, "Oh, you did invite me to a Knights game."
I did.
And those were kick-ass tickets.
Yeah.
So that was actually a pretty big deal.
Yep.
I also think that your theory of how we're going to develop this jingle is dumb.
Okay.
That's not how we're not good enough
Are you
musicians
saying you
to
don't
just sit
want
down and fucking crank
to get
one out.
together with Nick?
Not to play music. His dogs bark the whole time.
Hold on.
So there's no way we're going to record
I'm confused
anything.
because you just said in one breath he has the jingle planned, and then you said in the next breath, I don't want to sit
So
down and jam
here's
with
the other
you.
thing about
Thank you,
Nick.
Whitney.
When Nick invites you to do some kind of spontaneous, unstructured activity,
Okay.
you have to read between the lines.
This isn't spontaneous
Nick
or
literally
unstructured. This is
already-
literally planning.
No.
So it's not
But
spontaneous at
says,
all.
He says that we're going to get together and just like jam out the track. He already has a drum line for the track, which he sourced to another therapist in another state and got fully developed.
I know who that
he has
is. He's
fully
good.
recorded. Yeah, he's really Brian's fucking awesome. He also has a fully recorded riff. He's got fully recorded bass lines, all layered and professionally mixed.
Question.
What am I going to even do? I'm just going to show up and like
do you
strum for a
want
second.
to hear what Nick has organized and planned out?
For the jingle?
Yeah.
I've already heard it. He sent me cuts. It's really
Okay,
good.
so you have no input. You're okay if we go live
No,
with
no,
it
no,
next
we're not
week?
okay with that.
Okay,
I
then
gotta
what?
throw-
Okay,
It
so
isn't seafood sugar cookie if I don't contribute something. Give me a
So-
triangle. I'll just bang that.
It's
that
also
is
not.
what he said.
Thank you, Whitney.
Do I have to
Thank you.
therapize your answer?
Jesus
You're
Christ.
destroying this podcast. You are
I'm
our
here.
Yoko Ono.
I am here.
You have fucking ruined this place.
I'm gonna oh no.
You're the Yoko Ono of therapy
Jacob, I
podcasts.
can't see that.
Do we have answers for this person? How do you make friends in
know.
your adulthood?
What person?
So developing social
I have
skills.
I have a practical answer for the scenario that they laid out.
Yes.
So if you have something planned and the other person comes to you or calls you, texts you, whatever it is, and says, "Hey, that plan tomorrow, I can't do that. I gotta bail on that. Let's do something again soon."
Oh, leave it open. Yeah, don't make the next appointment.
No,
Yeah.
no. Don't take the impetus on yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
They're the ones.
Yeah.
Plans were made.
Yep.
They're the ones canceling, and this doesn't have to be a mean thing or anything like that. It's very simply like, awesome. Yeah, let's do something else.
Yep.
Give me a call. Shoot me a
Reach
text.
out when you're ready. Yep. That's
whenever
it.
you want to do it.
Yep.
And then you might say like, "Hey, there's this thing happening tomorrow, the next day, whatever it is. There's a movie playing day after tomorrow that I'd like to go see. Maybe we can do that." Toss that out to them, but leave it in their court.
Yes, I agree with you
Leave
completely.
it. Just say like, "Awesome. Reach out to me when you're ready."
Because when I cancel something, I almost always short punt on that, and so I'll say, "Oh, I can't make it today. Maybe we'll do something soon," or I'll say like, "Oh, maybe we could try this in a month." Or
Yeah.
like if Nick said, "Hey, man, you want to go golfing today? I need to fill a spot." I'd probably say no, and then I'd say like, "Oh, but let's
Probably?
maybe next weekend or this month." But that's a short punt of optimism, right? you should always assume that's not true. So Jacob's right. Don't take it personally. Also, we do need to play golf. My kid needs that merit badge.
We're not going into that right now. We're gonna give.
Moving on.
It's the only hope I have.
One problem at a time.
Yeah.
We're gonna give this person some.
I'm actually
time.
going to watch a video on how to go to a golf course for the first
How to
time.
make friends. Okay.
No, but that's a book. I have that book. It's Dale Carnegie. But no,
No,
also
that's win
writer.
them,
That's
not
my
make them.
recommendation. Dale Carnegie: How to Win Friends and Influence People.
No.
Do that.
Very I just got through watching a
Good book.
docuseries on Netflix on cults.
Oh, is
Okay.
that associated with cults?
Finish
It
what you're
is
saying,
very
'cause-
popular with
Oh,
cults.
wow.
So I would-
That book is extraordinary. Was some of their
Is it
best selling.
real? Shut up.
Goes to groups that are known as cults.
Are they going to make a sci-fi movie about it?
Okay.
No,
I'm just
What?
going to. All right.
Battlefield.
I
Thank you,
know.
Whitney.
He's
Like
just an
Battlefield.
idiot.
Okay. Saturday, June 11th, 2022.
Oh Christ! Are you still in the
12:59.
fucking text?
Probably going to see Maverick at 2:20 tomorrow.
Is this
Who
from
sent-
you?
if
Send
you
this text.
actually want to go, I sent this.
This is
If you
Okay, great.
actually
Okay.
want to go,
If you
and
actually want to
and
go.
it implies that I'm a flake in the fucking text. Oh, that's
I
perfect.
don't think
Would
you know
you-
what the word implies means.
Your response, would
It
you
says
care? Would you care if my dad came too? Fine with me. Gonna bring the boy too? Question mark. Get him. Get
Where's
him
Mark?
primed
Mark?
to enter the Navy.
Who's Mark?
Okay. Yeah. So I've got evidence right here. I
damn
planned
it.
that.
Yeah, okay.
That was my whole
one in your column then.
Okay.
And the hockey game.
One.
We already talked about the hockey game.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I guess we're 2 and 2 then.
I haven't heard two on the other side.
No, I have 2. He came to my house once. I don't remember what that was. Was that? It was a fight. It was a pay-per-view match.
Pacquiao.
Oh, okay.
Was it? Was it?
Yeah,
Pacquiao?
that was Pacquiao and
fucking,
and McGregor.
Oh,
Pacquiao
that
didn't fight McGregor.
Or
No,
Mayweather.
Mayweather.
McGregor. Wow,
Yeah.
was it that?
Yeah, it was that long ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
Also, you bought that fight?
I did.
He did.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a bad
did.
move.
I didn't even have a big TV.
Oh, so by the way, was
I wouldn't
the,
be friends with
was,
you either.
Was I the only one invited to that?
There was other people. Don't act like you were the only fucking person.
Exactly. So I was within a group of
Oh
people.
yeah, that did happen. Yeah, that's true.
Damn.
There was a group of people at the movie theater too. Just I invited them.
Jesus Christ.
What's the way? It doesn't count if I hang out with more than just you. You're the one cheating on me with Mark. I don't even have any other friends. The only person I hang out with is Jacob, and he insists that you be there too because it's weird for him.
Why are you sitting next to
He's
him
got a
so
knife.
much during
Jacob's just sitting there holding a knife.
Why are you
That's his
sitting
signal
next to
of wrap this shit up. I'm done with all
Okay.
this. This podcast sucks. We need to give this person
He's tired
advice.
as shit. Poor
I know this
Jacob.
poor guy. You're not
Let's
going to the
let-
bar, huh?
No.
No, I'm going to the bar.
Yeah,
Hey.
boy.
All right.
I'm in tonight. Let's go. All right, so let's wrap this up. We need to give him some
Yeah.
advice. Whitney, be the fucking therapist.
I'm going to
We're
right
terrible.
now.
We're over here bickering like an
I
old
gave
married
advice.
couple.
Whitney's going to give advice.
Yeah, it's
Shut
fine.
up, Jim.
Jacob, we've been talking about our advice. It's invite Nick to shit.
Okay, first
Nick will be your friend.
Like to be your friend.
Nick just ran to the bathroom. Nick will happily be your friend.
That's
Ryder.
right.
this is behind his back. He can't commit.
Yes.
No.
Oh my gosh. First thing I want to address is you said that you don't know why. Let me find it. You said something like, you don't know why this bothers you so much, that you made plans with this person for the next day because they canceled your plans you originally had. They said maybe the next day, and you said okay, and then they just ghosted you or didn't respond.
Right.
I want to just first say that would bother me too. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine
Yeah.
to feel bothered by that. You don't have to say, I don't know why this bothers me. So that's the first thing. But moving on, when you share that you're having difficulty sustaining friendships that you've had prior to the pandemic, I think the pandemic changed a lot.
It ruined my social skills, and I've noticed it.
It is a skill. It is something you
Yes.
practice. And I think the writer even said that that's like a skill that they have struggled with now.
Yes.
And I think that all of us are struggling a little bit. Maybe
Yes.
even your friend that didn't respond
So
that day.
I was thinking about this last week, and one of the things that affected me with the pandemic was like I used to just walk up and chat with people or like read their body language and sense like they're inviting and like we can talk. But during the pandemic, it
Like
was
small
like,
talk.
yes, under no circumstances
By
should
the way,
you close that gap.
You should, Ryder. You should hear that as Jim was overthinking this before the pandemic.
Yeah, I was doing it before it was cool. So like during the pandemic though, like you give people the bubble, right? And so like you don't get in close. There's really no reason to close that gap. Even if you think, oh, they're warm and it's okay, it's not a smart move. And at the end of the day, you might be imposing yourself upon them and making them really uncomfortable. So like the default posture was just get the fuck away from everybody.
Yeah.
And that has become my posture. Like everywhere I go, I just don't chat. I don't talk to anybody. I don't interact. I'm just always on my own.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't go visit Nick to protect him from COVID. It's still out there, buddy. You're welcome.
I also think
Nice excuse.
work friendships. I mean, I can't
Like
speak
you
for Jim
want
and
to
Nick.
fucking hang out. You're making it this whole fucking thing. Like you're just sitting
Nick
at your front
does.
door.
He tells me all the
waiting
time
for
how
Nick
much
to-
he wants to hang out
This
with.
is goddamn stupid. Like I'm gonna
Whitney-
fucking pull up.
Whitney, how many times have I cried on your shoulder?
I mean, at least 5 times
fuck all
this
of you.
week.
You even
Like,
when we went to the
I was
hockey
in
game.
California and he called me in tears.
I doubt it.
Did.
Also, you've been a bitch since Hawaii, so I'm sure Hawaii's.
Wait, you went to California?
Who are you again? You told me at the way to the hockey game. You said dinks hang out with dinks, and I'm not a dink. And that
I
was
wasn't
just
invited
you
then, Nick.
putting me in my
now
place.
I'm pissed.
Dinks hang out
All
with
right,
dinks,
you know what?
Jim.
Fine, Whitney and I will write the song.
Yeah.
Fucking no! I want to be part of it. Did you see the graphic I made? Did
You have
like
to hang
it?
out
The
with
octopus?
us
That
if
was
you
pretty
want to
good.
help write it.
Anyway, go on, Whitney. You were saying
I'm so
something
glad that I
profound.
actively stay out of the song business.
Oh, you made the right call.
Like, yeah, write a new song, give it to me.
I consider all of us to be part of the band. I mean, I feel like we're going to play at Scoop Fest.
I mean,
Well,
I secretly
did.
want to open up for SJ and the Ruckus. That's my life fucking goal. And I texted Nick. I was like, dude, do you think we can open up for SJ and the Ruckus? He's like, bro, we are not good, and they are professionals.
Okay, number
I was like, it's
one.
all going to be
That's
plugged in. We can just get up there while they're like taking a piss or something.
SJ.
This
That's
will work.
insulting to
Number
SJ.
one
one,
quick, like-
number one, we're not good. Number two is we won't get together to practice.
We have like a year. In a year, we can pull it
You'll
off.
do it in a year, Jim?
Well,
You'll do it in a year?
I mean, within a
How
calendar
often,
year.
how often will you practice every
Not
month?
a calendar year. I need 12 months from now.
How often will you
Scoop
practice
Fest?
every
Opposite
month?
of
Oh, not
calendar.
every month, Jacob. That's dumb.
You won't practice every month?
No.
You're certainly not going to practice
That's
every week.
silly. How often does SJ practice?
Oh, a lot, I'm guessing.
I mean, she has like
She has so many gigs.
yeah, she has like 5
I was
gigs a week.
I was looking at their Instagram page and I was like showing my spouse. I was like, "Hey, look at this!" And it was crazy. It's like every day in a month.
Oh, yeah.
was like just book,
Today,
book.
today we're recording this on August 7th. Today is her first day off since June.
Oh my
Damn.
gosh.
Yeah, today's her first actual day off since June, and she's at home working on another show right now.
Is summer just like a really
gosh.
busy touring?
It's just been a lot of stuff.
just a lot of gigs.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. And I mean, and don't feel bad for her. She's the one saying yes to everything.
Yeah, she can
Yeah.
say no.
Yeah, like she's saying yes.
Yeah.
Jacob said, fuck.
Anyway, that's my big ambition is to find a way to open for SJ and the Ruckus.
Good luck.
But
Yeah.
no, I don't mean like on
don't
their
see-
stage or using any of their shit. I mean like just in the building. Like
I think
at a
you
coffee
have
shop.
to practice at some point.
No,
Just
see,
one
that's-
one
At some
time.
point, we'd probably have to get together and collaborate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't
yeah.
put it all on me, man.
I think you
Don't
can do it individually, and
throw
then
it all on me.
miraculously it'll just come
Ryder,
together on stage.
here's my real advice for you on all of this.
Oh, yeah, thanks for
And
that.
that is fake it till you make it.
There it is.
And that is put yourself in a situation, be that a bar, be that a work party, whatever. And it can be low stakes. It can be people that you don't know. It can be people that you don't know at all, and people that you could potentially never see again. So in a bar, at an event, whatever it is, and just walk around pretending, and say like, what would an outgoing person who knows how to do this? What would they do right now?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Let me just walk over to this stranger over here and strike up a conversation, and let's see how this goes. And I'll tell you what you do. You walk up to them with a topic. Have a topic in your head and say like, okay, that person looks, they're doing something or they're watching something on TV. There's a TV on in the bar and they are watching it and it's college basketball. And you don't have to be a big college basketball fan, but have something in your head that is college basketball. Oh, you like college basketball? Man, that Gene Hackman movie, Hoosiers, that is one of my favorite movies. That is a
Referencing
fantastic
Hoosiers
movie.
is how you make friends.
Yes,
that's the
age-appropriate
move.
friends.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
But I mean,
move.
it can be anything. Just tie anything to something that you know about,
You're also old.
and just have
I
a
think-
reference.
What year were you born?
85.
Okay, I was born in 86.
You're a child.
See?
You don't know.
I was going to say, I think I'm younger than you.
You don't watch fucking Hoosiers?
I did because our coach in soccer made
Oh,
us in
Hoosiers
college.
was a great
Hoosiers
movie.
is
Okay,
still a
It's
good
so
movie.
great,
No.
and I was
Whitney,
supposed to
stop.
watch it.
I watched
They
it the first
watched
time in
it
a while over
unironically.
COVID.
I
You
know.
watched it with
Yeah.
your friends and laughed in PE.
No,
like
our,
that's
our
different.
coach in soccer.
They
in
went to the
college
opening
soccer.
premiere at the movie theater.
Okay,
that's how
maybe
old
that's
they
true.
are.
We were both
Yeah.
born slightly before Gene Hackman.
Yeah, that's
Who was first?
Yeah.
Nick Tangeman or Gene Hackman?
this poor writer.
Nick
Okay,
Tangeman was originally cast as Lex Luthor in Superman.
Was.
No way. Was he really?
Well, that's because, I had already turned down the role in Citizen Kane.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Good to know.
He kept saying tulip.
Ryder, the only way I know how to make friends is to start a podcast, and even then, they're not sure they're friends. They just keep showing up.
Fake it till you make it, writer. And honestly, like you'll just build habits. It's all about habits.
it's a muscle.
It is. You just walk up to someone and you start talking to them, and you can't be worried about it. You can't be scared. You can't be thinking about what they're going to think of you, and going through all of that, because that's going to fuck with you.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is fucking with yourself. You're causing self harm at that point. Just walk up to them and mention something that you like, that you think they may also like, or that they may just be interested in. And you can talk to them about it. If they don't know about it, you can tell them about it. You can ask them, hey, I really liked this movie. Have you seen any movies lately that you liked?
Yeah. Conversational.
Ask them questions about their life.
I think asking questions
That's
is
it.
a
That's the
really
trick.
important piece.
Yeah.
I also think don't
And then
take
they're going
it,
to talk for you.
Yes.
and don't take it personal, because I do think that like ghosting has become a much bigger thing
It's
in our generation.
socially acceptable now.
Yeah.
I mean, even with
I ghosted someone today that I'm going to see tomorrow, and they're going to ask why I didn't text them. And I'm going to say, I just didn't.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think part of it too, even when it came along with like online dating.
What?
Yeah.
Is that why
You
you
know, all
didn't
the
respond
dating
to me?
websites. It became,
Who's that?
Whitney, way to jump into the role on that one. That was good. So you're just not going to text me back then?
And by the way, that person is a friend. That person's a
I
friend
need to
that I
know
like
if we're
them.
having dinner
Yeah.
or not.
And, like,
I know I am.
I just didn't feel like having that conversation today.
I do that all the time because I just sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like I'm going to reply to this, but then I forget.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
don't
it's-
take it personal.
And it's a conversation. I just didn't feel like having that conversation today. I'm going to have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm going to see him tomorrow. We'll have that conversation.
I really like meetup.com as a way to just find local groups that are interested in an activity, because that's a great ready-made friend group.
I like Meetup because it's about the activity.
yeah, not fucking
So you're
like
finding-
those other groups.
Yeah, well,
So, like, if you're interested in
It
sports,
depends
My-
on what
my
we're
camp.
doing.
yeah.
Also, Facebook groups sucks. Like, they had all these commercials during the Super Bowl, and they were like, hey, this is the website where you meet people. And I was like, oh, cool. And so I went to Facebook groups. It's garbage, man.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't
I
find
don't even know what
anything.
you're talking about.
It's exactly. It's terrible. It failed like Meta.
For something
and
that had a
anything
Super
else.
Bowl commercial, it's weird that I've
Oh,
never
it's a
heard of it at all.
Also, I think Facebook can just like buy every Super Bowl commercial and it not even affect
That's
them.
true.
They don't care. They have more money than anybody.
Yeah, finding an
practice.
activity that you care about. So that could be through Meetup. That could be through taking a pottery class at the rec center. It could be through anything that you're interested in. I think that would help you find new friendships. And then using Jacob's advice, just jump in there, ask them questions about themselves. People typically like talking about themselves.
Parks and Rec almost always has sports that you
love
can
that
join
show.
as adult. No, okay. And then also like if you have local parks, like we have national parks and stuff, and there's almost always a Friends of the Park like volunteer group.
Yep.
Like the Wetlands out here has a special group that just goes out like once a month and just cleans up trash and plants
I
trees.
feel like Laura's in that.
It's super
too.
cool.
She is.
Is she? I was
Is
like,
she
I only got to
really?
listen.
That's
no,
fantastic.
she joined a group who was like, yeah, they pick
She's
up trash.
adorable.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
weekends, yeah.
Love her.
Wasn't she a Girl Scout?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
shows.
mean, she's not anymore, but
No, I know, but she's
She's
still
older
living
than
by the
12.
principles, Nick.
That's why I
Unlike
call her
some
Cookie.
people.
yeah.
That's why I call her Cookie. We got to end this
Okay.
fucking train wreck
Oh my
of
gosh,
a show.
yeah.
We've come to the end of the show.
I honestly want a jingle that is like this sense of like about to end the show doom. Like this is it. Like some kind of bracing song. It's
No,
like,
I'm just gonna-
oh, we've
I'm
hit
going
it
to start
again.
playing. I'm going to start having like orchestra music and just
Da,
playing
da,
us off.
da, 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 da. That's what we need. We need just some fucking John Williams shit. All right, we are about to wrap up the show, and as we do, we want to remind you that there's actually a lot of extra content at patreon.com/therapy. Nick, you released a deep dive into a classic psychology
Did you
study.
listen?
No.
Good.
But I read the title.
Okay.
Well, I'm not listening.
No, that's fine.
Until we get our better
It's
mics.
6
I
hours.
refuse to listen to your garbage.
I did get the mic figured out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was throwing shit against the wall, but I figured it out.
Oh, you need to text me how you did that because mine.
How I threw shit against the wall?
I want to know your technique.
Okay.
Yeah, I
See
wanna
what
get that
sticks.
right.
I still don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, it was literally just unplugging, replugging,
really?
changing settings.
Well,
and
good.
it
So
was
it's a high quality recording.
fucking-
What's the topic?
So I decided I'm starting a new thing now where I'm looking at classic studies in psychology. So I'm going to review some classic studies.
Oh,
some
can
of
we
my
shit all over the
favorites.
prison experiment?
Yeah,
No,
that's
I'm not-
been
Oh, the
that's
Stanford
been
prison
debunked.
experiment.
Let's fucking
Yes.
shit on
And
it.
actually-
It's dead.
Okay, well, we'll do that together.
Yeah.
You don't think it's
I
been
wasn't.
debunked?
No. I don't care.
Okay.
It's not one of my favorites.
Let's run it right
I started
now.
with Ash's conformity study.
All right.
This was one of my.
Oh, Ash.
Yes, this was my favorite study
That's
to
Walking
learn about.
Dead.
Is that where
Right.
like
Kid
they
who
tell
catches
people
all
if you
Yes, exactly.
if you
Yeah.
draw the
Right.
line and like everyone else says it's like the same
Yeah.
length, then it's
so
not.
basically, he would hold up a line and then 3 lines next to it and say which line is the same line. But all of them are Confederates. They're all part of the study except for one person.
Oh.
So
They're trying to get that one person to
yeah,
agree
to
with something
see-
that isn't true.
Yeah, to see whether or not they would go with the group and conform to an obviously wrong answer,
yeah,
or if they would disagree.
stick to like what they knew is true.
Yeah,
I think he's
Yeah.
playing us out. I think that's
What?
the Oscars.
Oh, that-
Wrap
yeah,
the
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
up.
that's- that's-
Yeah,
that's-
Okay.
that's the Oscars.
Okay.
I'm done with your
Gotcha.
bullshit.
It's really good. Go listen.
Anyway, patreon.com/therapy. Get the extended show ad-free a day early. Enjoy our live chat Discord community, which is going to be very active on this week's episode. Enjoy those weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, and research roundups and rants. And
Yeah, new Patreons.
oh, do we?
No.
Hey.
So get your ass to patreon.com/therapy.
All right.
Put a buck in the hat and we'll
It's a
thank
slow
you
week.
live on air. Today could have been you. You could have been the only one.
I was just glad I missed last week where you read all the names.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we did.
yeah, that's the long bit. But we do want to thank our Thera partners, Dirty B and Myra, and our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Thera producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie, Jr. Mintz. I forgot he has that button. Cindy Scoop, who is commissioner of the Fantasy Football League, which we are rebooting.
Yeah.
If you want a prayer of getting into one of these VIP, very high quality spots, get your ass into the Discord and you just throw all your money into the Patreon because that's the way we pick the. But we're kicking somebody out of the league to make room for Whitney, and it's going to be whoever the lowest scoring person.
I've never
was.
played fantasy football.
Gonna be
You going all in on
draft.
Number 1 overall,
Number
baby,
one. Kirk
Mr.
Cousins.
Football.
I was wondering if there was a random.
Oh no,
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Jacob's the one who's going to get kicked out of the league.
Are you the
Yes.
last one? Jacob wants out.
okay.
No,
He's
you're not
been-
leaving.
He's like,
He has
help.
been wanting to
like-
get
Yeah, he's
out.
been looking for an excuse. I hope it's an 8-person league and half the league is hosts, and just the whole fucking league is just you're playing us every single week. You're playing one of us, and we're just bitching about it the whole time. I forget where I was. Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mintz, Smitty Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Dr. and Mr. Hot Dog Scoop. You still haven't changed the script. They asked you to change that.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Richard
All right.
Macy, Carolyn Albert. Did I miss anybody? Richard Macy, Hot Dog Scoop, Malia, Leon Kassab, Cindy Ash, Mason Miller, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley, Slap in Your Face. They're not even waiting for full ones. You're doing it like syllabically. Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Violet
We
T,
gave him the button.
University Jeff. We didn't give him shit. He just has everything. Mike Helm, Paris, Samantha Cohn, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder Cougar, Falcon. No, it sounds empty now. It needs it back. Lib and wait, where was I? Matt and Lisa Tangeman. Heyo. Where was I?
Oscar Swanrose.
Thank you. A Sunny Boy, Slurp Kaye, motherfucker. Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, and Hannah Marinky Dinky Dink.
And if you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
You're so good at this.
Why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy.
That's a new bit.
And thank you for supporting mental health.
Do it that way forever. I love it. That's all the time we got for this shit show. I want to thank our landlords, Matt Manley's Ice Cream Social Podcast. Thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We do appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something to keep all yourself. Share the episode. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Twitter, X, fucking Instagram, /PodTherapy on Facebook. Don't forget the goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
And if you want to submit a question to the show, ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your
That's
appointments
Jacob.
next week.
That's Mickey. Mickey's here with
All right.
us.
Pay that money to get on the fucking line.
Which happened first?